Welcome to Crypto Warehouse News. Today is August the 11th, and we're going to be taking a look at an article published by Barnsley Supporters Trust in response to the HEX sponsorship of Barnsley Football Club. I'm Mike, and Brogan is going to take a look at the article for us.
Yep. So, the 4 key areas. Who is sponsoring? Due diligence, online activity, and if not Richard Hart, who? So, have you got any initial thoughts on this?
Yes. These points raised are very similar to the ones that we brought up in last week's video, which we had a good response to. We had several DMs on Twitter. We had some responses on the YouTube video, mainly from the HEX community. And from our point of view, we were under the impression that this was a potential deal between Richard Hart and Barnsley Football Club. It transpires that it wasn't.
Wow.
And this has come from the HEX community. So in terms of the due diligence, the question raised there is that can somebody who isn't the beneficial owner of HEX actually step forward and sponsor a football club on behalf of HEX?
Yeah, I was going to ask, what's the legality of all this? Can they legally sponsor someone in the name of another company if they don't have...
Yeah, that's a very good point, and I'm not too sure they can.
Well.
So I think we've kind of raised 4 main points as our response to this, haven't we?
Yep. So our points are grey area, lack of accountability, HEX ethics, and motivation.
Yeah, so the lack of accountability, as we've just mentioned, that's really the key one. If, for example, a member of the HEX community was found to be carrying out fraudulent activity, carrying out, financial fraud, etc., who is going to? Who do you sue? Who can you? Who can you take to court about this? Because it could damage the reputation of Barnsley Football Club.
Yep. And
without accountability, you can't just go around and put, I'm going to put a name on a football club and then carry out, nefarious acts in the background, because that's just going to damage the football club.
Exactly.
That raises the issue of motivation, which we raised last week, which is, are HEX looking for the publicity from sponsoring Barnsley Football Club? Or are they looking for the PR of sponsoring Barnsley Football Club? If you look in the Premier League, you see an awful lot of crypto businesses, for example, Tezos at Manchester United. Now, they are very large businesses, but still very young businesses. They're only 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. And I think, why is HEX sponsoring a League One football club? Did HEX approach Barnsley? Did Barnsley approach HEX? Is there somebody in the HEX community with contacts at Barnsley Football Club? There's a lot of unanswered questions. It seems to also have been thrown together at the last minute. There was no kind of announcement prior to the sponsorship deal, so it all seems to me to be very, very rushed. And that doesn't bode well, really, for the future of this agreement. What are your thoughts? Have you got any questions about this?
Not really. Maybe on the ethics part of our points. Is there anything, any point which is how do I word it? I'm not sure how to word it, but is there anything ethically which HEX does, or do we know anything which might be ethically questionable?
I think the ethical side of things comes into play when you look at the community.
Yeah.
You don't need to do any KYC to buy HEX token.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
So you can go and buy the HEX token and become part of the HEX community immediately, but there's no due diligence done on those people. So you could have anybody in any country in the world being a member of the HEX community.
I see what the problem is there. Yeah. Okay.
So I think that's a valid point.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they're going to get around this. It's a can of worms. So if anything else happens, if there's another update, or if there's a response from Barnsley Football Club, then we'll post a response video.
Yep.
Until then, thanks for watching, please subscribe.
Yep, and like.
How long was that?